What's cracking, peeps? Darren McDuffie here, alias Fat Man, helping you become perfectly healthy and toned and conscious, of course. So I'm just going to give a few minutes for people to come on if they want to listen to what I have to say and really be inspired by some of the things that I have to say tonight. So for those of you who are watching now, you know that I shared something on Facebook, something that I've been trying to manifest for 2 years. And that manifestation finally came through for me today. I received a call and was actually offered a job. And that job was something for me that kind of culminated in really what I was practicing and really what all the things that you see me talking about were things that I was really doing for myself, but also teaching others as well and inspiring others as well. I know that my path on this earth plane at this point is to inspire people. I always used to run from that, but now I know it's truly for me to inspire others to live a greater life, to take a bigger part in their life and aspire to do things on a different level. So I wanted to share with you tonight how this actually happened for me, and maybe you will take something from this. I always look at people and I take something from them that I can learn. Everything may not be the thing, so to speak, that I need, but there are bits and pieces that I can take and use them in my life. I know there's a great quote from Bruce Lee when he says exactly that. So take bits and pieces from things and use them within your life. So I'm going to go back. I don't really like to tell stories because stories, you make your life with a story. And if you're going to tell a story, you want to tell it from the way that you want things to be. And that's how I've learned to tell my story. But I want to go back and just let you know what I've actually been through. So in 2015, I was actually fired from a job. And I had left another job and went to that job for almost 2 months and got fired from that job. And I had put on the Facebook notification the numbers 118. That was $1.18. In 2015, after I got fired from that job, I received my last check from them, and I remember looking into my bank account, and I had $1.18 to my name. $1.18 to my name, and I kept thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to do? I'm a college graduate. I have the world going for me, or so I thought at that time. And I said, I have $1.18 into my name. And I kept thinking to myself, why is this happening to me? Why at this point? Why is this happening to me? And a couple of months passed, I had to turn off my cell phone. There were a lot of things that I had to do without that I was so used to having in my life. And I didn't really know how I was going to adapt to all this stuff, but I adapted. And a couple of months passed, and I remember I kept thinking about it, and I remember kneeling down at the edge of my bed, and I put my hand on my head, and I just started crying. I could not stop crying. I kept asking myself, I kept saying, I said, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't really have a clue of what I'm supposed to do. And that was the first time I had cried in a long time. I think the last time I cried was when my mom passed away in 2005. But I was just at a point where I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had got into some spiritual teachings, but they weren't working for me at that time. And I was lost, and I did not know what the next piece of the puzzle was going to be. So fast forward, I remember as I was going to the spiritual meetings, I just quit. I said, this isn't working for me. I'm just tired of it. I said, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to quit. And I quit for a while, and something within me led me back to these meetings. And I got back into the meetings, and then things just started clicking for me. I realized that a lot of times what happens with us is we want to change things through action. And the way that my life was I was always this up and down person. Either I was happy or either I was down in the dumps. And that's how my life went. I went from that happy down in the dumps, happy down in the dumps, kind of like an EKG. If you've ever seen an EKG in an emergency room where they're monitoring someone's heartbeat, that's how my life was. I was either up or down, and I was always like that. I never knew that I had the power to focus my mind on the things that I want and create the things that I really wanted in my life. And it took some time for me to do this. Like I said, it's been 2 years for me to manifest this job. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I did that and share with you the strategy I use. But the one thing that I want to express to you is that you have to know your own value. I came from an athletic background. I was always highly confident coming from playing basketball on the college level. And I always thought that I loved myself. But see, no one teaches us how to really love ourselves. We learn to love ourselves through other people. And if those people aren't giving us that love consistently, then we think that we've done something bad. So therefore, we go around looking for people to love us. And we think that if that person loves us more and more and more, then that's what gives us value. But you have to learn to love yourself. And I remember sitting down one day at the park with a piece of paper, and I was saying, what do I love about Darren? What is it good about Darren? And I remember sitting in front of that piece of paper for 40, 50 minutes, and I could not think of one thing I loved about myself. And then one thing came, and that one thing created a bit of momentum. And from that point on, I was able to go to the park, and every day I would just practice on myself and say, hey, what do I love? And sometimes I would write the same thing. Sometimes things would come up that were differently. But what I was realizing is I was creating a momentum about myself. And from that, what I did was I started to change my momentum about myself, or the way that I thought about myself, and then I started to look at others differently. I didn't do anything for those other people to change, but I wanted to focus on what I thought was positive about those people. And there are many different people in my life that are friends that I focused on. And I said, well, I like this about so-and-so. I like this about this person, and I would continuously focus on those positive aspects within people. And one thing I can say that I've really been blessed in my life, because I've always, no matter how dark a person is, I always have been able to see the spark within them. I always can look at someone and tell who they would be in the long run if they were able to, take these different steps. I've never been able to do that for myself, but that's a gift in itself. And I can always kind of clue in on people's energy and really feels people's energy. Those are my gifts, and I've learned to be more comfortable with them as I've gotten a little bit more mature. At first, I used to run from a lot of things and really wasn't comfortable with who I am. I used to be from job to job to job because I never felt like I fit in any one place. And that was one of the things that I wanted to change. But getting back to what I was saying with practicing these positive things about other people and practicing these positive things about myself, was what I was realizing is that people on the outside were changing because I was changing. I was looking at myself in a different way. I think that what happens with a lot of us is we do not love ourselves, or we love ourselves very sparsely. And the world will show you that. The world will reflect that to you, because you have to know your own value before others will know your value. I did this thing on my Instagram about being a discount. People will see you at a discount when you don't know your own value, and the world shows us that on a daily basis. When you carry yourself with a high degree of self-love, the world is going to reflect that back to you. When you carry yourself with a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, a lot of anger, the world is going to reflect that back to you as well. So what you want to do is you want to change the way that you feel about yourself. And you want to, as consistently as possible, feel good. And that's one of the things that I can say that I can truly reflect back on and say that I did that over a period of about 2 years. And this wasn't an instantaneous process. I think what happens with people is when we want something and we really want it, we think that it has to be instantaneous. We have a society that says you can just pick up a phone and call whoever you want to or send a text message. You can just throw your food in there and have it heated up in 15 minutes. But when you are in a place where you have consistently thought negative thoughts over a period of time, it's not going to turn around in 2 days. It's not going to maybe turn around in a week. It may not even turn around in a year. It took, like I said, me 2 years to release resistance to wanting to really manifest what I consider my dream job. And when the lady called me today and said, we want to offer you the job, I just started crying. I could not control myself from crying, because I know that in every state of my being, I am a creator, and I created this. I manifested this on some level. In 2015, about midway through that year, I've sat down and I said, what do I want in this next job? And I wrote down 3 things. One was it was going to be fun. The second thing was that it was going to pay me well. And the third thing is I was going to travel. I've gotten all 3 of those things with this job. When the lady told me the salary, she said, we start at this. I said, I want this. And she said, okay, we can do that. This was the first time I've ever negotiated a salary. In my past jobs, I would always just take something. Always settle. Don't settle. You deserve better for yourself, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a job, whether it be, you're wanting a career change or whatever. You deserve that, and you have to believe that you deserve it. The only person that's stopping you from getting what you want is yourself, because you have to release the resistance around the thing that you want. A lot of us think that we want things, and I know, because I used to think that I wanted something, but I was always thinking in the lack of what I wanted. I would always listen to this chitter chatter in my head, and I had to change it. I used to tell myself, there are no good jobs in South Florida. There's just no good jobs. And people would come to me and reflect that. Oh, yeah, there's no good jobs here. And I changed that belief. I had a friend who came from Phoenix, Arizona, and he came here and he got a job starting at $90,000. And I said, there's that belief. That belief is going out the window. And I began to change my beliefs around the way that I thought about things. And you've seen me on all of these Facebook Lives talk about beliefs. Our beliefs create our world, and they're either going to build our palace of possibilities or destroy them. And that's what you have to believe about yourself, about your beliefs. And your beliefs are easily changeable. A lot of people out there watching this video are thinking that it's hard for you to make money. Because you think that's what exactly happens. You get exactly what you think you're going to get. So if you think you're going to make X amount of dollars, that's what you're going to get. If you think you're going to make, $30,000 a year, that's exactly what you're going to get. The universe, God, Spirit is always going to prove you right. And you are going to be able to change your beliefs to experience something different in your reality. If you're stuck, the reason why you're stuck is because you are consistently having the same thoughts over and over and over again. You have to do something to change your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, it changes the energy. Whether you have an illness, whether you have something wrong with your job, whether there's something in your relationship. And that's why people keep telling me, why you don't talk about health anymore. Everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Whether it has to do with your health or whatever it has to do, it's all consciousness. It all comes back to what you're thinking about yourself. If you have an illness, chances are you are not loving yourself. You're not taking a great degree of self-care for yourself, and it's showing up. It's showing up inside of you. It's going to show up in your outside world as well. So you have to do something to change your beliefs. I added one thing to that list, and I said, out of the fun, out of having the exact salary that I wanted and being able to travel, later on I added that I wanted to have an easy commute. My job is 15 minutes away from where I live. 15 minutes away from where I live. So I got exactly everything that I wanted. And that's the way that your world should be. If that's not the way your world should be, or that's not the way your world is appearing right now, it's because you have resistance around the things that you want. Everything is energy. And as soon as you can change that energy through your thought patterns, you'll realize that your life will start to change. I'm not here to tell you, like I said in the beginning, that it's going to change in a day. It's going to change in a week. Like I said, it took me 2 years of practicing a high degree of self-love on myself, a high degree of really changing my beliefs and the things that thank you, Tara, things that I really thought about myself. And I'm no different than anybody else. I used to think that people were so different than me. But the world gives us exactly what we think of ourselves. So if your world is not looking the way that you want it to look at this particular point in time, it's because you have some thoughts and some beliefs about who you think you are. I've been through a ton of things in my life, and I don't want to go back through the story, and everything wasn't always peaches and cream. But what I realized through the experience that I've had is these things were always adding something to me, adding some type of value to me. Whether I deemed them good or bad, the contrast that was happening to me was propelling me into something greater for my soul's expansion. And a lot of times what will happen with us, we'll look at something and we will think that, oh, this is bad, this is bad. It's not really bad. It's getting you in a place to ask for something more. And as soon as you're ready to go with what you've asked for, that's when that particular thing will happen for you. So it's a process that you're going to go through in order to better yourself. Going back to what I said, don't settle. If you know that you're worth a certain amount of money, if you know that you're worth a better relationship, if you know that you're worth whatever it is, then don't settle. People used to call me for jobs and they'd be like, oh, we want to offer you this. And I'll be like, mm-mm. In the past, I would have done that. I would have taken that because I was happy to have a job. Just happy to have a job. And when I started putting out my resume for different things, I would always get these little computer messages. Oh, we looked at your resume and we decided to go with another candidate. Here's what happened for me that made me believe in my inner being and my soul and how to believe in my guidance. When I saw the listing for this particular job, I was like, man, this is me. They wanted people to speak in front of groups. They wanted, travel. I said, this is me. And wild horses could not stop me from going to this place, finding where it was, and giving them my resume. That's exactly what I did. I printed up my resume. I said, you know what, I'm going to find a place. Drove to the place. I went to the desk. The guy said, oh, we don't take resumes here. I said, dude, I said, you know what, man? I said, if you could give this to someone else, I said, I'm here for the regional account manager position. And if you could give my resume to someone who might be hiring for this position, I said, I would greatly appreciate it. Put it on his desk, and I left out. And I saw him grab it, and I said, man, I really appreciate it. I didn't know if he was going to give it to someone or whatever was going to happen. I got an inclination to check my voicemail. I have an internet phone here in my office, and something just told me that day to say, check your voicemail, because I usually keep the ringer off. Check my voicemail. The woman called me, and she said, we want you to come in for an interview. I went in for an interview. Everything just seemed to click. Me and her hit it off. The HR lady, we hit it off. And then a couple of days later, she said, hey, you know what? I want you to come in and meet the CEO. That was Friday. She right before Labor Day, she said, hey, come in and meet the CEO. Went in yesterday and meet him the day they called me and offered me the job. But it took 2 years. From the teachings that I know, they say nothing is about patience, but everything is about just releasing that resistance to the things that you want. And a lot of you, I know that you're watching this and you're probably saying that, I want this, but I don't believe I can have it. I want this, but I don't believe I can have it. You are supposed to get the things that you want in life. And if you're not getting those things that you want, you have to look at the person in the mirror. And that was one thing that I had to give up. I had to give up this air of victimhood, because I always thought that there was someone up there pushing buttons saying that I'm going to grant so-and-so a blessing, but I'm not going to grant Darren a blessing. And that's not how it works. You are the creative force behind where you're going to go in your life, and you have to believe that. And things will fall into place for you. And I've had so many things kind of fall into place for me, and I don't want to go into a lot of those stories. But when the final score is on the board, you have to know that you are the creator and the author of your experience. And the way to get to the things that you want is to change your energy around things. Many of you are in the same conversations every day. You're having the same conversations with people. You're thinking about your job the same way every day. What I learned about a job that I was in that got me eventually to another job is to find a positive in that job. If you have looked at any of my writings, I write things that I'm inspired to write. And sometimes these things come to me just in the middle of the night. I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and something will just come to me. And then I'll get in front of my computer and it just flows and I just start writing it. And what you see is a culmination of those things. But I wrote something called Kiss the Frog a while back, really finding the positive things in something that you do not like. It's always that we notice the things that we don't like. Find the things that you do like. If you want to be out of a job, find the one thing that you like about that job. And the universe will say, hey, you know what? Let's get so-and-so another job. The thing that's keeping a lot of people in their jobs is they're fearful. We're scared. We're scared to take a step. We're scared of change. And I was scared of change. You know, it's comfortable to sit in this space that we're in and do the same thing over and over again. But the universe wants you to expand. And the reason why you feel bad sitting at that job, the reason why you feel bad sitting in that same relationship, the reason you feel bad sitting in the same car is because you've asked for the thing that you want, and the universe is trying to get you to expand, but you don't want to go with it. And that's why you feel bad. And sometimes the universe tries to get us around our beliefs. I got fired from a job, and to me that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. But I realize now that was a blessing in disguise. I wrote something about that short last week. Your gift may be disguised as a curse first. Firing from a job, being in a car accident. The universe, God, Spirit is always trying to talk to you, but we don't want to heed the message. A lot of times we don't want to listen. So the universe says, hey, I'm going to get your attention this way. God says, I'm going to get your attention this way. Spirit says, I'm going to get your attention this way. So pay attention to the messages as they come up and learn to trust and follow your inner guidance, because our emotions are in a place to guide us, to be able to listen. I used to bury my emotions all the time, thinking that, a man is supposed to bury his emotion. We're not supposed to be emotional. But your emotions are in a place to guide you. Start listening. If things don't feel good, I just watched the Defiant Ones, one of the segments of the Defiant Ones on HBO with Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. I think his name is Iovine or something to that effect. He's the head of Interscope Records. But Dr. Dre said something in the end that really stuck with me. He said, if something doesn't feel good to me, I'm out of there. And that's the way you have to be. If things don't feel good to you, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to leave. You've already asked, but you have to be willing to catch up with that expansion and be willing to go. And that's the one thing that I've learned in my life. I used to always tough things out. I'm tough, this and this. But when things aren't feeling good anymore, it's time for you to leave that scenario and move on to something else. And the universe, God, Spirit, may have to use something harsh like being fired from a job to get you to move and see that your best interest lies ahead. And that's the way that you want to move. So I just wanted tonight just to share my testimony and let you know that it took me, like I said, 2 years, and it wasn't, I don't want to say an easy process or something like that, but what I wanted to say is I had to learn the crust. There was something that Chris Rock said in one of his bits on the comedy. He said, you have to learn to love the crust of a MFer. I won't repeat that, but you can fill in the blanks there. And one thing that I really had to do was learn to love my crust. There were things I really liked about myself. There were things that I disliked about myself. But through it all and through this process, I've learned to love those things that I once didn't love about myself. And you have to do that. You have to love every little crevice, every little nook, every little cranny of yourself. And that propels you forward. And a lot of us, again, we don't know how to love ourselves. We don't have a manual telling us, hey, this is how you love yourself. So therefore, we're looking for others outside of us to love us, to show us our value. You are worthy of the stuff that you want in your life simply because you were born. You wanted to be here during this time in this place. You wanted to be here. You chose to be here during this time. And you wanted to experience the things that you experience. I used to think that there were good and bad experiences. I just look at things as experiences now, because there are no good or bad experience. Everything is for your soul's growth. That's all it is. Some of the things that you experience, you chose to experience before you came here. And that puts a lot of things in perspective for you. So I'm not here to say this thing is manifested, it's already done. So I'm going on to my next manifestation. But what I would like for you to take from this is to know that you can create whatever you want. I did it. I was able to create the exact job that I wanted, the exact pay that I wanted. And you can do the same thing. But know that it may not be an instantaneous process for you. All of us have different energy and different vibration around different things. Some people are really good at money. Some people are good at jobs. Some people are good at relationships. Some people suck at money. Some people suck at relationships. Some people suck at jobs. But know that you can train your mind to focus on the things that you want. And the universe has to bring you those things. It is universal law. Many of you might be saying, well, why he's so hyped about getting another job? Why am I so hyped about getting another job? I'll tell you why. I love Lisa Nichols, and I listened to one of her speeches. She's a very inspiring speaker, very inspiring person. If you listen to her, just Google Lisa Nichols. I've also met Les Brown personally. I love a lot of his stuff before, but Lisa Nichols really touched my heart because our stories are so similar. She was fired from like five different jobs. I've been fired or ran out of a lot of different jobs because I never felt like I fit in one thing. But what she said is sometimes you have to take a job to fund your dream, to continue funding your dream. I'm going to continue to fund my dream. I don't know how that thing's. I've been around so many winding corners. First it was fitness, then it was health, then it was consciousness and spirit. And now I really feel like I'm finding my path and all the pieces are coming together. But this job, what it means to me is I'm able to take this money and to continue to fund my dream, to continue to inspire others. And that's what I know that I am here for. I know without a doubt that that's what my purpose is in life now. And like I said, I used to run from that, but I'm not running from it anymore. And I'm really getting in touch with my gifts and really care. I really care about people. And I really care for the best for people. And anybody that's in contact with me, I'm sure that I translate that kind of energy. And it really wasn't always like that. I was always shy and timid around people and never really want to talk. For those people watching that knew me in high school, I was quieter than a church mouse, and you know that. The only people who really knew me were my really close friends. But now I realize that it took me a while to open up to people and have this love for people and really want to see people reach for the things that they want in their lives and to be really inspired by something I said or maybe something I did. I'm not a guru. I'm just a guy that's here that's lived through countless different things. I won't even say they've been obstacles because they've all helped my soul grow. And that's the way that I look at them. That's the way that I think that other people should look at these things as well. But like I said, I just really wanted to share this with you because I know at one point when I was at a low point, I just felt like no one was able to relate to me. And I felt like I was carrying this thing all on myself. And I knew at one point, I've never been a person to give up. Never been a person to give up. I've always been persistent. But when you look in your bank account and you see $1.18, it does something to you, and it did something to me. But I know now that I'm on the right path, and I know that this is a step. This is another piece to the puzzle. And you get one piece of the puzzle, you get another piece of the puzzle, and you keep putting it together. Last thing I want to say is we all want to know how things are going to end up. We want to know, at least I always did. I always wanted to know if I do this and I do this and I do this and I'm going to get to X result, kind of like, if you take algebra. But what I've realized in life is that you take one piece, you keep stepping on the path, the other piece comes, then the other piece comes, and then the other piece comes. And then before long, the whole puzzle is in place. You don't have to know the whole picture at the beginning. Just keep gathering these little snapshots, taking these little snapshots and enjoying your life and enjoying your life and enjoying your life. And pretty soon, that big picture will come into view, and then you'll be living that big picture. Be persistent. Learn how to focus your mind. Our minds are valuable tools. That's why everybody is vying for your attention. Everybody wants to show you a commercial. Everybody wants to get your attention when you're on your smartphone because they know the power of your mind. And if you can focus your mind on good feeling things, focusing your mind on what you want out of life, you will get it. But if your mind is always scrambled and you're giving your attention to this and giving your attention to that and giving your attention to something else, you can't develop that focus, that laser focus that you need in order to be able to manifest and create the life that you want. So that's all I have to say. Thank you all for just tuning in. If any of you want to reach out to me, you want to send me a message, a private message, something is going on with you, and you want some, I don't really give out advice. I'm just going to say, hey, this is what you need to do, and that's what you want. Send me a message in private on Facebook. Spirit has been telling me to really start helping others with this types of stuff because they think that people are ready for it now. People are wanting to live a better life, and they're not living this better life through action. So if you're not living this better life through action, then there's something that you need to change about your thoughts. So at some point, when I get myself situated and get everything into place, I'm going to be doing some coaching and just taking a couple of different people and just showing you how to love yourself better, how to focus your mind and do the things that I did in order to be able to realize these things that you want within your life. Check me out on perfectlyhealthyandtone.com. A lot of my podcasts are there. A lot of them I've been kind of bridging out into consciousness and, more so with health as well. But all those things are intertwined. Health and consciousness is intertwined. They're not two different things. They're basically one thing. So, again, Check me out there. Check me out on Perfectly Healthy and Tone Radio. And thank you for listening. Darren McDuffie, alias Fat Man, helping you become perfectly healthy in tone and conscious. One love, y'all. I'm out.